If you're using discipline and pulling yourself together in order to reach your goal, that is the number one reason why you are failing and why you're staying stuck. If you continue using this strategy, the only result will be more stress, less energy, and more failing. In this video, I'll give you the real secret to how your brain works and what you need to do in order to reach your goals. And I'll give you a hint, it doesn't involve discipline or willpower. You've probably read all the self-help books that say you need to get up early in the morning, the 5 a.m. club, do your morning routines, read, do some exercise, do your meditation and all that stuff, and then just do it. Use discipline, push yourself, and the result is, well, I think you know it. When you try to use discipline and push yourself, you're not going to be able to reach your goals. You will feel like you are failing. And why is that? Well, because using discipline means using willpower. And in order to use willpower, you need a lot of energy. You need more energy than you'll have in the long run. Using willpower requires a lot of energy. And why is that? Let me show you how your brain works, and then you'll understand everything. You see, your brain is divided into the conscious brain and the unconscious brain. All your habits are stored in the unconscious brain. All learning is unconscious. All behavior is unconscious. You don't really think about it when you're locking your front door, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're pouring the coffee. You're not thinking about what you're doing. It's just happening on autopilot, right? So all your habits are stored in the unconscious mind. They're there. You're not meant to be aware of them. They're just happening. They're just running in the background. And your unconscious mind, what it does every day is to drive you along so that you can repeat those patterns, the patterns that are stored in the unconscious mind. And why? Why is that? Why does your mind want you to repeat the patterns that are stored there, all your habits? Why? Well, because your brain has one main priority. It is to keep you safe. And your brain doesn't always know what is safe, what is unsafe. So it will put everything that is new and unknown into the category unsafe. And why is that? Well, you see, your brain doesn't have capacity to think about everything, analyze everything, and know everything. It can't. So it just needs to be quick and decide, is this safe? Is it not? So whatever is new, it could be good for you, but your brain can't know what will happen when you do new stuff. So it will put it all into the dangerous category, just in case. So all new stuff goes into the dangerous category. And what happens to the old stuff? The old patterns, the old ways of thinking, feeling, doing, all the stuff you've been doing all your life, it goes into the safe category. Those habits might not be great for you, but your unconscious mind will go, oh, you know what? Although I'm never happy when I do this habit, I know what is going to happen. It's safe. Been there before. Done that. There won't be any surprises. So all of the old stuff, all the old habits, the old way of thinking, doing, and feeling, it goes into the safe habit. So why am I telling you this? Well, this is important in order to understand why willpower, why discipline does not work. Every second of your day, your brain, your mind really is trying to keep you safe. And it does that by driving you away from all the danger stuff towards the safe stuff. And how does it do that actually? How does your mind ensure that you repeat the old patterns and that you stay safe, that you stay, where it's safe and comfortable? Your mind can't really talk to you. Although, yes, it can. It does. It does talk to you. And how does it talk to you? Well, by creating emotions. Whenever you feel sensations or emotions, that's the language of your unconscious mind. And that is how your mind is driving you towards repeating the old patterns because that is safe. It uses emotions to drive you away from everything which is dangerous and to the safe stuff. It creates really uncomfortable, stressful emotions if you try to do something new. And it creates a lot of really pleasant emotions around those old habits. Old habits, although they might not make you happy, they're safe. So there's a lot of good, positive emotions connected to those habits. So when you're using willpower, when you are using discipline, you are going against what your mind wants you to do. Are you with me? Because if you are using discipline, it means that you need to summon energy. You need to pull yourself together. It means you need to force yourself to do something that you actually don't want to do. Am I right? You know that feeling when you're trying to go out running and you don't really feel like it. Your brain is going, oh, it's probably not a good idea to go out running today. Your foot hurts a little bit, or you're tired, it's raining, blah, 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 blah. All those excuses, that's just your brain trying to keep you away from doing that thing. It creates uncomfortable emotions. So yeah, of course, being uncomfortable isn't dangerous, and we should be able to go against that to a certain degree. Because what happens when you rely 100% on willpower and discipline? It really means that you are going against everything that your mind wants you to do. And your mind is going to summon all of its energy in order to drive you in the opposite direction to where it's safe. Let's say you set a goal, you're going to pull yourself together, get up early every morning and just do the morning routines and be so productive and do all the stuff. Imagine that those are all new habits. It's all unsafe for your mind, right? So it's going to create a lot of stress around it and a lot of good emotions around sleeping in, scrolling when you wake up, having a long, relaxing breakfast, doing all that stuff. And you wanted to get going with your morning routines, getting up early and doing all that productivity stuff. And your mind is going to make a lot of stress around the new habits and a lot of good emotions around the old ones, driving you towards doing the old ones. And you might even find yourself justifying that, oh, it's a good day to just stay in bed. It's better for me because blah, blah, blah. And all those excuses come up, and it's just your brain which is trying to keep you safe. Well, when you are going towards what your mind wants to do, you need to go against those emotions. Those emotions are there to keep you safe. And you know what? You probably don't know it, but your emotions are the strongest force there is. Yes, you're able to suppress them for a while. You can use willpower for a while, but it requires so much energy going towards what you really want, going towards those old patterns and going against them, doing the opposite of what your mind wants you to do. It is super tiring. You're not going to be able to keep up with that in the long run. We've all learned that we just need to pull us together. We have all learned that discipline is what gives us results. We have all learned that willpower is the way to change. And it isn't right. It's completely wrong. Yes, of course, there will be some uncomfortable times. And yes, a little bit of willpower isn't bad. But what happens when you rely solely on willpower and discipline in order to get stuff done? You're not going to have enough energy, because each time you're trying to do something and it's against what your mind wants you to do, it's going to use all its energy to drive you in the opposite direction. And you need to summon a lot more energy in order to go against it. It's not going to last. It's going to make you so tired. It's going to create a lot of negative stress. In the long run, this can make you sick. And I think you know what I'm talking about. I think you've been feeling that feeling. You want to get somewhere, and the only tool you've had is to just push yourself and force yourself. And maybe you've had success. Maybe you've been able to do this for a while. But what if there was a smarter way? What if you can reach your goals without using willpower? What if you could create positive emotions around the new stuff instead, so that your brain would go, ooh, I want to do that stuff, and leave the old habits? What if that was possible? Okay, of course, I wouldn't tell you this if it wasn't possible. It is possible. You can reprogram all your old habits. You can reprogram all your emotions, what you feel about doing this thing or feeling that thing or thinking that thought. And when you do, you'll be able to reach your goals without using willpower. You'll be able to reach your goals without using discipline, because discipline, you know what discipline does? It creates so much inner stress. It makes your life so hard. I know this because I tried it for so many years. For many years, I had such let's put it like this, a troublesome relationship to my body and food and all that stuff. And I was using willpower in order to change. I was using willpower in order to exercise, stay away from foods that I thought I wasn't supposed to eat, and all that stuff. And the result was a lot of inner stress, a lot of negativity, a lot of fear, and a lot of just restriction. I was so tense. My body was so tense. My whole life was just like black or white. It was either that or that. There was no joy. I couldn't be free. I couldn't relax. There wasn't room for love and all that stuff. It was just hardness. And in the end, how do you want your life to be? Do you want your life to be happy, smooth? Do you want it to be flowing, full of love and playfulness and vitality? Or do you want it to be hard? Do you want all that negative force? Do you want a tight body? I'm sure you don't want to. I'm sure you want vitality. You want health. You want to reach your goals. You want to play. You want to have fun. You want to have time. You want to have time to enjoy with your family. You want to have time to take care of yourself. You want to see the world as it is. It's a beautiful place. And as long as you get into that negativity of pushing yourself, just having to push yourself in order to reach your goals, you are going to create a miserable life, because you can reach all your goals. You can be productive. You can get all that change by reprogramming how you feel instead of pushing you. Okay, so how do you do it? Well, there are certain techniques we could go into. Let me just give you the basics so that you can get started and get this change right now. Sounds good? Okay. Here we go. So the first principle, just remember that your mind, your brain is driving you away from everything that is uncomfortable, all the negativity, towards where there are good emotions. And we don't realize it, but we have a tendency to think negatively around some things. Like, for example, maybe going for a run. Maybe if that is not familiar for you, maybe you're thinking, it's so tiring. I'm in such a bad shape. Or maybe it's going to the gym that you're making issues around. If I go to the gym, I don't have the right clothes, people will look at me, they'll see that I'm a beginner, I'm not that good. And you're making a story and a scene about how bad that is going to be. And the result will be negative emotions. And the result of that will be your mind goes, ooh, that's dangerous. Let's get away from it. Let's go towards where it's safe instead. So you need to start to be aware of what you're thinking about the stuff that you're planning on doing. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on that something is going to be hard, difficult, tiring, that it will require a long time? Or do you focus on what it's going to give you? That it's great to learn, that it's great to challenge yourself and do new stuff. How you view it, the story you are creating around that thing, is what is creating those emotions. So yes, of course, when we're speaking about a new habit, your brain will be like, oh, that could be dangerous. And it will already start to create a little bit of that stress, the negativity. But if you change how you look at it, if you change what you feel about it, then your mind is going to go, ooh, actually, that isn't too bad. I might like it. Let's do it. When you reprogram what you feel about something, your mind is automatically going to drive you towards where the good emotions are. So if you create a lot of good emotions around the new thing that you want to do, you're automatically going to want to do it. And no willpower is required. No discipline is required. So by being aware of what you're focusing on, what are you noticing? What are you thinking about when you think about that thing you're going to do? And what are you saying to yourself? Are you saying, I have to do it? I should do it? That doesn't create motivation, does it? That creates negative emotions. Instead, say, I want to do it. I get to do it. Maybe you're used to saying, oh, I'm not good at that. Your mind is so afraid that you're going to fail, at least in front of other people. So that if you say that you're not good at something, it's going to go, oh, then you should stay away from it. So how about saying, I'm not good at it yet, or I'm practicing, I'm getting better? Because if you're just starting out doing something, you can't really expect to be good at it, can you? We all need to practice and practice and practice. I learned to surf about 10 years ago. I'm not a world champion. I will never be a world champion. But being an adult and starting at a completely new sport, which you just like, be honest, suck at in the beginning, like a complete beginner, it could be, fatal to your identity, how you view yourself, going out there and being a complete beginner. So if you put your value in being perfect, that will be a problem. If you put your value in always being right and managing stuff, that will be really hard. So I put my value where my values belong. I know I'm valuable. I know I'm enough. And one of my core values is to challenge myself and to learn. What more perfect thing than surfing, really? Surfing gives me challenge every day and I can learn for the rest of my life. So I tell myself that I'm getting better and better each time I practice. I don't expect to be good at surfing if I don't practice. If I haven't surfed for a year, I'm not going to be getting any better, okay? So get used to focusing on the process. You are practicing. You are getting better. Let go of the expectations that you have to be perfect. And in that way, you are creating positive emotions around a process. It doesn't really matter if you ever get there. What matters is that you enjoy the process. And when you do, you connect all those positive emotions to the process, and what's going to happen? Your mind is going to go, oh, I like that. I like to learn. I like the process, and I don't care if I'm not perfect anymore. If you go into stuff with a mindset of, I have to be perfect, if not, I'm not valuable. Cancel, cancel, cancel. That's not right, is it? If you do that, then what's going to happen? Your mind is going to attach all that negativity to that activity. And what's going to happen? It's going to drive you away from it. And if you still want to do it, you'll have to use willpower or discipline in order to force yourself. So are you getting a grip on this? Does it sound right? Are you getting a clear picture? Because this is super important. You can change anything and you can do anything, whatever you want to do, as long as you use these techniques, you reprogram how you feel about that thing, that activity, you're automatically going to drive towards it. You can also visualize when you start daydreaming about something that you're planning on doing, creating a lot of good emotions around it. You can do that through making super nice pictures in your head, and you can create lots of nice feelings, and just visualizing that over and over again. It's going to do two things. First of all, it's going to make attractive pictures in your head, which is gonna unconsciously make you want to do it. And by seeing it in your head several times, your mind is going to go, oh, I've already done that. That's known territory. So it's probably safe, and it's going to automatically drive you towards it. So you can create new habits. You can change how you feel about stuff. And when you do, you can just take willpower and discipline, put it into a ball and just crush it up and just throw it far away, because you don't need it in order to change. As long as you know how your mind works and you reprogram how you feel about things, anything is possible. If you love this video, I'm sure you're going to like this as well.